There we go.
Sorry, I couldn't find the button.
It's all good. Better late than never. Hello. Welcome to Kill the Bottle Podcast. Eddie's More, aka the Yum Yum Foodie, and as always is the lovely Megan Elizabeth. Hello, Megan.
Not so lovely today.
Why aren't you so lovely, Megan? What's the deal? You're lovely to me every day.
Aw, thanks. I'm so hungover. I'm so hungover. I haven't been this hungover in a long time.
Really?
I feel bad.
Well, that's very on brand for Kill the Bottle Podcast, but we try not to be hungover and not to overindulge.
We try not to. We strive.
No, before we bring our guest on, one of the best advice a friend of mine ever gave me was we were going. This would have been, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s in Miami, and we would go out and have drinks and this and that. And after every drink, she would have the tallest glass of water, and that was the best advice ever. She's like, no. We just have a glass of water after everyone. You don't overdo it, but by the time anyway you have like 2 drinks and like 2 glasses of water, you're so full and have to pee so much, you're done. You're ready to go home, and then you're not hungover.
I want to get drunk. That doesn't help you get drunk. That's terrible advice.
Listen, you need to get drunk on life, my friend. I know. Yeah. You need to get drunk on life.
I was gonna go home. I was gonna be responsible last night, and then I got swooped in by a fun table that knew who I was. And I was like, okay, I'll stay. And I guess 4 shots later, I have bruises all over my head, all over my butt. I fell. Security had to escort me to my room. Oh, what a night. I wish I remembered
you made it home okay. I'm sure our guest on the show today will probably have some advice for you on this Megan, because our guest has had quite an interesting life. And that's why I really want to get to chat with him sooner than later. Some folks may know our guest as Pastor G. Some folks may know our guest as record executive at Interscope Records. But I have a feeling that more folks are going to know our guest as the pride of Guayaquil, Ecuador, Mr. Gerardo Mejia, a.k.a. Gerardo. Welcome to Kill the Bottle Podcast. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing great, my bro. How are you?
I am better now. First of all, I was a kid when Rico Suave, if you was a hit. It was huge. It was all over the place. It was something that as a little kid in Miami, if it wasn't Menudo, I didn't see a lot of and Menudo just wasn't my thing. The dish or the band, it just wasn't my thing. But I just wasn't accustomed to seeing anybody who, mind you, I want to say look like me loosely, because I don't have 6-pack. I didn't have those hair extensions. I don't have one
either anymore, but
oh, but I mean, you had it. You had it all, my friend. First of all, I need to figure out how you got from LA to, you're in Ashland, Kentucky now.
That's right.
Wow.
Talk to me here, because I live in LA. As you can tell, I'm sweating a little bit here because I have to turn off the air. If not, this microphone picks up everything. I'm schwitzing a little bit, but the weather's amazing. And I've been to Kentucky. And, one of the reasons why bourbon is so good in Kentucky is the fluctuations in temperature and how they affect the barrels. But man, it gets hotter than here and exponentially colder than here.
Yes, it does.
Why Kentucky?
Well, my wife is from over here.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough.
Done and done. That's the show. Have a great day, everybody.
No, I always told her, I said, when we met each other, it's like, okay, we're gonna live in my hood for a while, and later on in life we're gonna move and take it easier and have a little more peace in life. So we decided to come to Kentucky.
How are you acclimating, or how have you acclimated? How long have you been there?
I've been here, exactly probably 8 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you're pretty used to it now.
Yeah, I have. And then when even when we lived in Los Angeles, I would come here and there. Again, I never thought that I was gonna end up living here. I was always I'll come visit, I'll come say hi to the fam, and I loved it. It was a beautiful place. And like you said, in the summer it's crazy hot and humid. Right now I'm already sweating. And in the winter, if you don't like the cold, this is not the state for you.
It is cold. The bluegrass is beautiful when there's not snow covering it.
Yes,
but when there's snow covering it, not so much. I tell people, because I did the Bourbon Trail maybe in 2015, and I was there in the summer. So obviously weather was beautiful. It was gorgeous. There's like, I remember watching the TV show Dallas as a kid and seeing like the house on the hill with all this, land around it. And that's what Kentucky was for me, except there were horses on this land. So you drive by these beautiful homes and there's just horses running around. And I'm like, this is not real. There's like, who lives here? This is just not real. G, I wanted to ask you, it's funny because people hear the term, one hit wonder, and people can get kind of discouraged by that, or it can hit on them detrimentally. And I find just from learning more about you, you are somebody that embraced the lowest of lows in your life, and we're able to kind of get through that.
Yeah.
What does that term make you feel if somebody says it or it's brought up? I don't mean it to like strike anything sad. I find it fascinating.
Not at all. It's to me, for what I do now as a pastor, it's my lure to go fishing. It really is a thing that has worked, because when they hear that, the one hit wonder Rico Suave is a pastor at a church, either they're gonna crack up laughing and come check it out just to, maybe, get a good laugh or whatever. And then they see that it's for real, so I've embraced it. I can tell you, yeah, for a while, it irked me. It was like, I guess like in the middle 90s, it was something that I'd want to hear. And actually I had a, very big chip on my shoulder. It was one thing that you don't want to call me, but later on in life, I really embrace it. And it's a thing that I think it's just the way that God works in life. He sets you up and he uses your past, to for your testimony. And God's been so good, man. It's like I said, I embrace it now.
Which is funny. Before I forget, I have to tell you this. So a previous guest on our show is a good friend of mine. Her name is Carolyn. She's a vegan chef. And I was telling, she's from South Florida like me. And I was telling her, I was like, oh, Gerardo's going to be on the show today. I was able to try his coffee, which we'll talk about. And it was awesome. And she's like, you're not going to believe this. So I was a singer. She's telling us, I was a backup singer for TKA, which for people in the late 80s, early 90s who were in that scene, present company included, TKA was huge. And she's like, I was, she was like in high school. She's like, I braided Gerardo's hair backstage in Miami at a TKA show that she was singing backups for TKA.
That is great.
That was, but that was the life. You had, first of all, for folks at home, go find a picture of Gerardo's hair back then, because it was pretty epic. It was like telenovela meets pop star meets, like, was that your idea, or were you surrounded by like yes people that were just like, you need to do this?
Actually, that hair thing was Jimmy Iovine's idea. It was funny because
Jimmy Iovine, Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah, Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine. Yeah. When I had shot the video Rico Suave myself when I was in Acapulco doing a movie, and in between that and when I got the record deal, I cut my hair off. So he's like, man, we got to do an English version of the song. You got to get your hair back. So at that moment, there were these things called extensions, and I was like, they got my hair right back, super long, and after that, man, it was over. It was what people knew me for.
Which is funny. It's like, back then, Cool J liked a girl with extensions in her hair, bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair.
That's right.
Well, was there an artist? Because you were a rapper, essentially. You were a Latino rapper. What was the because I know you break dance, which fucking blows my mind. But was there an artist that really turned you on to rap music back then?
Gosh, man. Here's the funny thing. You just said, like, I was more of like that break dancer, that guy who was at the club. The reason this whole rap thing was not like a planned thing where, I had been rapping for years or nothing like that. It was me, a frustrated actor. I was working on a lot of movies, and then I was kind of, being Latino, I got a little upset that all the movies that I would get offered were like, the bad guy or the drug dealer or the pandillero or the gang dude,
Oh, geez, really stereotyping.
Yeah, I mean, back then it was really bad back then. So, I said, and I was like, man, I want to do something different. So one day at a club, which I frequented clubs, I hear, MC Hammer, and then I look and, Vanilla Ice, and I'm like, man, there's nobody filling the void, so I did that. And I went right away, and I knew a couple of producers. We got in the studio, wrote this song called Rico Suave, went and shot the video myself while I was doing another movie, and I sent it out myself to MTV Latino. I saw the address. In those days, it was like, there was no phones, or you couldn't get no addresses. There was this newspaper called the Drama Log, and it gave you all like the places where you could send in, your videos or whatever. If you,
It's like backstage,
yeah,
there was a
yeah, it was like, for actors, it showed you like where the castings were gonna be, and that's how I worked. So I sent it out, and sure enough, they started playing it. So by the time that Jimmy Iovine and gosh, I forgot the guy's name from Island Records, came and tried to sign me, I kind of, the record was already out there. So it worked out perfectly, so met Jimmy, and I remember my manager telling me, hey man, this is a new company. You're gonna be the first artist out of Interscope Records, man.
Wow.
They're really gonna work you. If you go with Island Records, you're just gonna be another guy, blah blah. And then Jimmy was that convincing guy too. I was like, I didn't know much about the business. All I knew is that I liked this dude, and he was for it. And that was the beginning of Interscope Records. I was their first artist.
Well, we learned a couple things. We learned, first of all, Jimmy Iovine, obviously he's brilliant, but he also can make mistakes like the hair, so yeah, he could sell he could do Beats by Dre and make $1 gazillion. He obviously do an incredible thing with Interscope Records, and I heard him on Howard Stern when Howard interviewed him, and they talked about you, and they talked about Rico Suave and the amount of money that they were able to generate from that. Now it's funny, because what do you do when you're because there's few stories like Ashton Kutcher where his first big job is that 70s show and he's working consistently ever since then. Like, what do you do when your first big hit is that big hit? What does that do to your psyche as far as the next thing that comes along?
Oh man, it drives you nuts, because you're trying to, when something blows up that big real quick, you're hoping that the second single does well enough. And I saw just like a decline every time I put out a song. I'm like, so it was like a learning experience for me, but it was a good learning experience, because I had to figure out what it is that I had to do, once my career, it was I couldn't save it. You don't know this, but I took out, there was another album after Morima, which was Rico Suave. And then I put out 2 other albums with EMI Latin that, I only worked in the Latin market, and that's how I survived. I went to the Latin countries, and it was because over here in the US, things had totally changed. It was, for a while, it was MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, Rico Suave, then went Rome, and it went to super underground rap. So, it was done. It was done for us. So after that, man, I just had to learn how to survive. And at one point in my life, I was pretty broke. I was in Vegas, and I called. I remember calling Ted and Jimmy and saying, "Man, I really wanted to make it in the business and show you guys that that I was worth it, but I failed." I said, I couldn't do it as an artist, but just like you gave me an opportunity, and as an artist, give me an opportunity as an executive. And bro, they were solid. They said they flew me in, they gave me a job, they gave me the opportunity, and 6 months later, I signed Enrique Iglesias, and things were good again.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
2 turns like that way. Like, some people might take a different turn and end up in a disaster zone. How did you learn your work ethic, your drive? Where did you get that from?
Oh, that was always
there.
It's something that I had always in my life. My dad was the kind of dad that said, man, if you want it, you can get it. My dad was the guy that would make me believe that, I came from, like you said at the beginning, Guayaquil, Ecuador. at the age of 12, and he always put it in my head. He goes, man, you know, the United States, this is the land of opportunity where you can make your dreams come true. And I believed him.
My parents never said that. They said, do not follow your dreams. Get a teaching job, 9 to 5, find a good man.
I was actually an accountant. I was actually an accountant because he
No,
always
you were?
yes, he made
Wow.
me study. He had me because he was an accountant. My uncles were all accountants. I was bound to be an accountant. And I was like, no. And one day I just told him, I said, Dad, I don't want to do this.
I
You
don't
know,
want to do it.
yeah.
Man.
Which is funny. My dad was, and I've said this before, but my dad in Cuba was being forced to study accounting. My dad left Cuba when he was 18 years old, and he was, you know, in the process that we're going to force him. My dad is a musician. My dad made his life as a musician. You know, for us as kids, that's the only thing I know. And you don't want to trust my dad with numbers. That's just like the last thing you want to do. And it's funny how many parallels there are in that kind of immigrant mentality where, like, you know, you're here. Like the hardest part was getting here.
Yeah.
Now is like put the drive, put the, you know, figure it out. And I think that's such a beautiful takeaway of your story is that you saw that void in the market.
Yeah.
Saw nobody that was like you and said, hey, you know, obviously the stars have to align and all these things have to come through. But it takes that initial, like, hey, I'm out shooting a movie. Well, shoot, we're already here. Let's do this video. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Now, where did you, first of all, recently, G sent me some of his coffee, some of his Rico Suave coffee. And obviously the name is very apropos because it is, no, I'm a coffee snob. I like good coffee. And it really was no BS. It was really delicious, nice, smooth. What was the catalyst for you getting into the coffee business?
It was and I know I sound like a pastor, but it was God
Well,
sent.
you
It
are a
was
pastor.
like you know,
It's okay.
Yeah.
I was in Qatar. We were trying to finance this movie, and we were talking to some people over there. And I'm in this because in Qatar everything gets imported. They don't, you know, they bring everything in. You know, it's there, it's desert, so they get everything from the outside. And there was this type of like I don't know, a fair, a conference or whatever, and all the countries were there with their products. And I'm looking around for my flag, right? Where's the Ecuadorians at, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm looking around and I see a couple of guys that there were, you know, one guy was selling plantain chips, you know, platanitos. I don't know if you like
yeah.
tostones,
Yeah.
I love
Of
them.
course.
Well, anyway, one guy was selling
those are
that.
dangerous in my house. Yeah.
Oh man, they're amazing. And then the other guy had coffee. And you could, as you walked in, you just got the aroma. I'm like, oh my God, I just, you know, because I've loved coffee all my life. And I walk up to him, I'm like, oh my, you know, I started talking to him, and I was like, so I said, where do I buy this? You know, well, he goes, well, I don't have I sell it, you know, to Starbucks. I sell it to other brands, whatever, you know, I sell it either, you know, tostado or raw, whatever, you know, whatever. And I was like, I said, bro, you know, we got to talk. And I was like, I think I got the brand for this. So we started talking, and then we came to an agreement. Then I started flying to Ecuador every month to taste it, you know, because the guy, he's third generation coffee. His family's been doing coffee for 50 years. So
Wow.
if I had somebody, a partner that knew it, because, you know, my thing is marketing and promotion. I want to market my coffee like I do an artist, right? But he, you know, at the end of the day,
Knew it.
you know, it's just like promoting an artist. If the artist sucks, nobody's gonna listen to his music. But if the product is good, you know, this can be something. And like after a year of going back and forth, we got to the point where the coffee was rico and suave.
Yeah, I mean, so how can folks get their hands on some of your coffee?
Right now, it's on Amazon. It's actually we're gonna be on Walmart pretty soon.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah. So as far as like South American countries, in Ecuador, we're the #1 coffee out there, and it's only been 2.5 years. And there's these other coffees that have been out for 25 years, man. And you know, it's just it really has taken off, man. And we didn't want to do it because of the pandemic, and just, you know, we didn't know that in that time coffee consumption was going to triple. So we've been lucky, we've been blessed, and it's what I'm focusing on right now, man. I've done this music thing for so long that I'm looking forward to getting this brand to the point where it can sustain me and I can preach for the rest of my life.
Well, it's funny to hear you say that you meet this guy and you say, I have the perfect, brand for this, right?
Yeah.
And as an A&R, just having the perfect brand, because to me, Enrique Iglesias is the perfect brand because he's the son of a legend, an icon, right? But
Yeah.
if the coffee's not good, if Enrique is not good,
That's right.
it's not going to be successful.
That's right.
What was that recipe for you with an artist like Enrique when when you either took him under your wing, or how did that relationship come about, that you knew it was going to work, or you had a good idea it was going to work?
Well, like I said, I had gone into Interscope, and I really, I knew what had happened with my career and how the bilingual crossover market was out there. There's like in those days, bro, like when I came out, if you saw the billboard, I was, my song was up against like rock music, like, I'm the top 20, there's Bon Jovi, there's Warrant, there's a White Snake. I mean, that's what was playing in those days.
Yeah.
And nowadays you look at the billboard, it's Bad Bunny, J Balvin, that it's all Latin. But in those days it wasn't. It was really a thing that we had to push. So when Enrique comes along, I had taken it to Jimmy, and at that point he was still like, I don't know, because you remember, this is Interscope, who has Dre, has Snoop, they're not known for real pop music. They had No Doubt too, but they especially the Latin department too. They didn't know much about it. So when I brought him at the beginning, it was like, oh, let's see, we'll wait it out, whatever. And then, but 2 months later, Ricky Martin explodes. Yeah. So I'm in my office, and I get a call from Steve Stout, who's working with Jimmy there. And then he's like, bro, where's your boy at? And hold on a second. Let me turn.
That's okay. We just know the technology works.
So he's like, where's your boy at? And I'm like, I said, he's there. And he goes, man, let's start talking to him. And by the time that I start talking to him, Clive Davis is all over him. So I'm like, man, Clive's about to sign him. And he's like, Jimmy's like, you gotta go over there. This is kind of how Jimmy talks. You gotta go over there. You gotta fly to Miami. You gotta go, So boom, I fly to Miami. They send me in the Universal private jet. Boom. And I'm like there in front of Enrique. I'm like, no, don't make your don't jump into nothing yet, blah, blah. And then we started talking, and then we came back. Then Jimmy flew out there with me to do the whole spiel. And, because Jimmy's really good at that. He can convince anybody. So he's in front of Enrique, and sure enough, man, a couple of months later, also we lured him in because we were doing the Wild Wild West soundtrack, and we put out Bailamos in that soundtrack, and took it to #1 and everything. And after that, he knew that basically as a label we could really work out with him. So it did.
I've always wanted to know like a real life story like that. You only see it in like movies, and you hear about it, but like to actually talk to you about, that's so fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean, and then for like every Enrique, there's X amount of artists who are super talented, and for some reason the recipe, something doesn't work, and it happens. I don't have this in my notes, but I'm just curious, who in your mind is, if you can think of the best artist that nobody's ever heard of?
Oh man, there were so many. Sometimes I wouldn't say I kicked myself in the behind, but like I remember going to the studios with I was managing producers, and I had Bruno Mars there writing songs for my other artists. Yep. And never thought about signing him. He's right there. Yeah, so it's like, I can't say that I was 100. Because there were times that people came and left in my life that had talent, but I just didn't see it. Right. With others, the same thing. They had everything to win, but somehow they didn't make it. You hear a lot about the successes of people. Like you see, if you check out my Wikipedia, it attaches the success, but there's a lot of artists in there that we tried to work in and actually didn't happen. And they had tons of talent, but it just wasn't their time.
I have an embarrassing Enrique Iglesias story in Miami, and I'm at Morton's Steakhouse in downtown. I don't even know if it's there anymore. It's on Brickell, which is not like a very popular area of Miami. And I am walking into Morton's. I open the door, and when I'm telling you, like, Helena Troy, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen at the time, walks out, and I am, as we say in Spanish, patitieso. I am frozen, like I just saw a ghost. I'm staring at her like an idiot. And she's walking by, and I hold the door, and I just stare at her. And then I look back in, and it's Enrique Iglesias looking right back at me. And it was Anna Kournikova.
Yeah.
They weren't married yet.
Yeah.
And I just looked back at him, and I shrugged my shoulders, and I was like, what are you gonna do? And he was like, yep, pretty much. And then that was it.
Control yourself, Eddie.
I'm sorry, Anna Kournikova, a blonde Russian. Now in Miami, there's blonde Russians everywhere. Circa 2001 or whatever that was, you did not see them with a tennis player's physique, and like 6 feet tall. It just, I'm 5'6".
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's be real. You weren't just looking straight; you were like looking up.
No,
too.
I was. Well, if I was looking straight, there was a particular worked out area that happened to be in my peripherals. So hey, I'm being. I was just like taken back. I was like, I wasn't ready for it. Sorry, I had to because I completely forgot about that story until right now.
Yeah, she's super pretty, and like she doesn't use an ounce of makeup, and she's just like
beautiful. My gosh, love her.
She's like a super soldier. She's like the LeBron James of pretty women. At that times. At that time of life, you're just like, you're like, what are you gonna do? You're like, just throw your hands up, take all my money. I don't know, please, just like, like whatever.
Gosh.
God bless you, Enrique.
So I have a question about. So has religion always been a pretty big part of your life?
It was. Well, I wouldn't say I didn't. My family, my parents, we weren't religious at all. With me, we went to church on Easter and probably Christmas mass or something here and there when we could. But my parents didn't really push that on me. My mom was 15 when she had me, so she was really young. She wasn't. She wasn't religious or anything. I became a Christian when I was 17, and then I got in the business, and little by little, the more famous and the more I thought that it was I was the talented one, and the gifts weren't from God, they were just from me. And the more and more I got egotistical, the less and less it was about God. So I forgot about God for a long time. But it's one of those things that it is always for the better. Sometimes when you go through tough times and you go through some trials and some tribulations, it's when you find yourself. And there was a moment in my life when I did, and I had no excuse not to serve God. And it was actually people always tell you this. Actually, Enrique told me this one time. He goes, "Oh, you Christians, something really bad has to happen to you, and you guys hit rock bottom, and then you become a Christian." And I'm like,
yeah, that's what you
I say, I hit rock bottom many times in my life, but it was at a high point in my life that I said to myself, I have no excuse not to serve God anymore, because He had been there with me in my good times and my bad times, and this was a good season. And I said, from now on, I am not gonna step back anymore. So that was it.
Well, one of the things of going online and just, watching and hearing you speak before, obviously chatting with you right now, is that what I get from it as well is, besides the fact that, yeah, obviously you're Christian, is that you are the type of person that are okay with people who are not. You're okay with people that are different than you. You're okay with people that maybe that can have a conversation.
Hungover 34-year-olds.
Hungover 34-year-olds. By the way, he has a foot fetish, so you need to
you found that out too.
It's almost impossible not to find that out. But you, Megan, you need to do some feet on your OnlyFans, Megan. We need to just pay those bills, girl.
Already done.
Not
done.
for G, but just for in general. because
That's
you
so
see,
funny.
no matter how successful people can be, at the height of his success, he was a foot dude. So you just need a couple of foot dudes to follow you, Megs, and pay for your OnlyFans. That's all I'm saying.
So
It's just
funny.
feet at the end of the day.
It's
That's
the end of the
funny.
day.
That is funny.
Does that really say that about him? And that says that on the internet, or is that just something you knew, or
No,
you guys
he
talked about
said it
this?
on the internet. I'm not making it up, so I'll let him.
Yeah, 'cause I talk. What did you see that one when I met my wife and I made her take off her shoes? Is that?
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
yeah.
I
great.
saw, and again, this is you. You can't be the person you are now if you weren't the person you were before. If you didn't evolve, if you didn't change your life. To me, if you're the same person you were 40 years ago, you're living the wrong life.
That's right.
In some way, shape, or form, you need to evolve. But like his road people would check out girls' feet before they could meet him. Like
That's so
they had to
funny.
be pedicure. Mind you, the movie Boomerang with Eddie Murphy changed me because I never paid attention to girls' feet until Eddie Murphy's character in Boomerang was obsessed with
Wait.
like if a girl had ugly feet, he wasn't into them
Yeah.
in the
Well,
movie.
he I just tell because I know them all. And the more I opened up about my foot fetish, the more I knew that I wasn't alone. I knew Eddie
I had a
Murphy.
support group.
Eddie
That sounds
Murphy was a big foot fetish guy. Let me tell you, Johnny Depp, I had a one-on-one conversation. He loved feet too. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that, they're in the closet about their, whatever their foot fetish. But
I have an idea for you, Megan. Your account should be 21 Jump Feet. And it should be
God.
pictures of Johnny Depp staring at pictures of your feet. I'm just putting it out there.
Oh,
Come on.
Johnny. Oh man, now that I know and he's single, I'm after it. That's fantastic. I don't think I have a fetish like that. It's so interesting. Do you have a fetish, Eddie?
No, my fetish is probably dating employed women. I think that would be my no, I'm just kidding. No, no, but it's funny. Like my fetish wouldn't be like feet in the sense where I'm like obsessed with feet, but I think feet on people was a determining factor for the way they take care of themselves. So if I saw somebody, to quote Eddie Murphy in Boomerang, where they had like hammer time in their shoe, I was turned off by them. Like you could look like if Anna Kournikova would have walked by me in flip-flops with some busted ass toes, I would not have looked at her and been busted by Enrique Iglesias looking at her the way that I did. So maybe, I guess, I don't know. Would that be, I don't know the definition really of, is that a fetish?
No, yeah, I think that's nice. You like people that take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want a train wreck. Like I want to know that if I go to your house and I go to use your bathroom, I'm not like digging through your stuff. But if you have some floss sitting out there, you have some toothpaste and like a Sonic hair toothbrush, I'm like, oh, somebody here cares about themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What's wrong
All
with
right.
that?
Nothing's wrong with that, you weirdo.
Hey,
you're not coming over to my
hey.
house. You're judging me. Judger.
Always. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyways, back to the interview.
Gee, I was curious because one thing I want to suggest to the folks at home is to check out a really great video on YouTube. I mean, I'm sure it's other places, but I found it on YouTube. It's called Rise, and it's G's story. It is really worth the watch. I was compelled today, sucked right in. It was just a great experience. But one of the things I really enjoyed watching was the footage of you breakdancing. The footage of, because my wife was a professional dancer, and I'm always amazed by dance. Like I have rhythm, I don't have the control of body that these folks like you do, or these people that you see on like So You Think You Could Dance and that can do these crazy robotic moves. Were you ever a fan of those shows like So You Think You Could Dance? Is that like some of your trash TV that you watch?
No, I really wasn't. I watch there's like on Instagram there's different dance things that you can follow and stuff like that, but I was a street dancer, so I like to see like how street dancing from locking to popping to breakdance has evolved and has become this worldwide global thing. In those days, we I can actually say that I'm an OG from the West Coast, one of the guys that was in there that, that started that, was I didn't say started, I'm sorry. That was a part of that rise of the expansion of that dance. And in those days, here's something that's not in Rise that I always kind of forget. In those days, there was a guy who just passed away 2 weeks ago, who used to be Michael Jackson's choreographer. This Mexican popper named Bruno Falcon. And when I was young, this is before Rico Suave, I got to go into Michael's house to teach him some moves. I went there with my two guys. We used to do routines, and we taught Michael how to float. I don't know if you ever seen that. It's like he does it a lot in Smooth Criminal. And we went in there. I got to meet a lot of people because of my dance. And even before, I was a rapper. So when I became a rapper and I became like a celebrity, I ran to those people again. I thought, oh my God, I said, yeah, we used to dance it here and there. And that was my passion. My passion was really, dancing and getting down the dance floor and battling people. And that's what I love to do.
For folks at home, there's a cult movie back in the day called Breaking, and it is about that world. And I was going to ask you, were you did Breaking have anything to do with you getting into it, or you into it before the film?
Oh, I was way into it before. Breaking came out, I think, in 85, if I'm correct. In 1985, I was dancing since 80.
Okay,
so
yeah, you were into it.
Yeah. Like I said, it was like early on when it was just rising. It would look weird, but I was that guy. That's how I excelled in high school, because I was not a good, into sports. I was terrible. I was a Latin guy, that didn't know how to even play soccer. So I was not good.
Well, that was going to lead to what I want to ask you, which is, it seems like you've done so much. What is stuff that you haven't done that you want to do? Do you have like a bucket list of things that you're still working on?
Gosh, now I'm going to start sounding boring right now, because this is like, so many years later, I'm like, well, my whole thing now is my bucket list is traveling. Like this month, I'm taking my wife, we're going to Milan, Italy. And then 2 weeks after that, we're going to the Galapagos Islands. And I've just made it a point now that, I just got to make a lot more memories. I was always good about making memories back in the day. That's why I have all that footage that you see, even from dancing, acting, I was good at that. And then, time goes by and I'm like, what about the new memories I got to make? So, I'm really, really on that season now, which is, making memories with my wife everywhere we go.
Which is, so are you and your wife foodies?
Oh my gosh, yes. Big time.
Yeah, good. You're on the right show.
Yeah, you're
big
definitely
time foodies, man. We my wife, believe it or not, is an amazing cook. I'm horrendous. I tried to be to maybe have the gift of just like she don't measure nothing. She's boom, pa, 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 and cilantro here and little things there and onions here. But I tried, and it's just not my gift. My brother's an amazing cook, but my father was an amazing cook, and he handed it down to her. Like he would be in the kitchen, she would be there. So my wife makes me like ceviche. Like she's 100% white from Kentucky, making ceviche for me,
Aww.
and she makes me shrimp ceviche. She uses a lot of plantains. She makes mofongo. She makes plátano maduro, plátano verde.
Wow.
I'm really blessed, that she's got that gift, man.
Which is funny you mentioned shrimp, because on my trip to Louisville, well, I stayed in Louisville when I was there for the Bourbon Trail, and I went to a restaurant off the top of my head right now. It's called Proof on Main at the 21C Museum. Holy shit. I just had a memory that we're like, wow. Anyway, and they had this incredible seafood. And I'm like, I'm in Kentucky. There's no ocean over there. There's no ocean anywhere near over here. There's no, and when I'm talking to the chef, I said, man, I was always a little bit hesitant to order seafood in the middle of the country.
Landlocked.
Yeah. And he said, look, if you want to know, if you're in a city that's close to a FedEx or a UPS hub, they're always going to have fresh seafood at the restaurants. Yeah. Mine was blown.
Yeah.
So for the rest of my trip in
You were
Louisville,
looking.
Kentucky, I ordered seafood everywhere, and it was the
Yeah.
freshest, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
What's
There-
the
there-
culinary scene like where you are?
Well, in the city that I'm in, which is a small city, Ashland, Kentucky, it's very much like a lot of ribs, a lot of meat, a lot of stuff like that, right? But which I'm cool with. But like I'm in the tri-state, so Ohio is 5 minutes from me, and then West Virginia is 5 minutes from me. So I go to a lot of to this place in Huntington, West Virginia, called the 21 Club, and I promise you, and I've been to spots in Miami, I've been to all these other Italian spots. There's another place called Rocco's. At the 21 Club, that's probably the best lobster tail that I ever had, and I've tried them everywhere. And they're at Rocco's in Cerrito. They have, my God, like the most amazing lobster ravioli. And they have these mussels in this white sauce, and I mean, they have all this, like mushrooms with sausage, and they have the hot peppers, the long yellow peppers, and the inside of them, they have oh my gosh, I forgot what it is, but it's like spicy and good. And man, I've been fortunate enough to eat everywhere. I can tell you, maybe sushi is not the thing to eat over here. They don't have the greatest sushi, but when it comes to Italian restaurants and some Mexican restaurants over here are very good too, because a lot of the people that come over here that are coming to Kentucky, there's a lot of Mexican people that are around here. They serve you the real real Mexican, like no watered down tacos, no Americanized tacos, real, like carnitas, lengua.
I was waiting for
Al
lengua.
pastor. Yeah. So it's, I'm pretty, I have a great variety, but I get the chance to travel a lot. So I'm very much a foodie, my bro.
Are you okay
Yeah.
with the restaurant that has, the 17 courses, but they're tiny and each one is kind of amazing and unique? Or are you more the like 5 courses, more filling? Because I got a restaurant for you in Milan that I'm going to send to you after
Really
the show.
wonderful. Let me know.
That's
Actually, my wife was looking at that. Yes. I'm good with my brother. I'm good with both. I'm good with like one night this way, one night. Yeah.
There's a Michelin star restaurant in Milan called Mudek it's just a special meal. It's like a bucket list. I'm gonna send it to you, so don't even write it down.
Okay,
you have
cool,
my
cool.
word.
I was about to write
no,
it down.
no. I'll
He's
promise
gone.
I'll send it to you.
Great.
No, but it's just one of those, because it's not for everybody. I don't like to recommend a restaurant to folks that maybe that's not, because being a foodie doesn't mean you have to go to the most expensive or the most like odd restaurant to be a foodie. There's so many variations of it. Megan is a testament to that, because she loves everything. She loves your super high end to your,
my
your
street
roach
tacos.
coach
Those are my favorite.
exactly. Yeah.
The pastor, when they slice it right in front of you on the street, it's my favorite. It's my favorite thing in the entire world. I always stop and get some when I'm walking by them. It's the best.
In Spanish, we call that los huecos. Los huecos donde está la comida, like the hood, the hole of the wall. Those are there's a lot of great spots like that too.
Yeah. I found a lot of those spots. I love them.
Because of, I'm sorry, I'm just curious right now. My mind
you had
goes
a
all over the
face
place.
on. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, well, no, because when you're a pastor and you like, and let's say you had an affinity for rap music. Rap music has evolved.
Yeah.
Some could say for better, some could say for worse. I'm a fan of the early 90s rap. I can listen to Pac and Biggie, all day. Nas, those are my guys. Do you find yourself listening to any new music as a student of it, or do you find yourself kind of aligning more with what was in the world when you were an artist?
I gotta say both. I love, if you go and like if we're in the car, my taste in music, which my wife sometimes goes, oh, please change, whatever. The first song that you'll hear in my car will be September by Earth, Wind and Fire. Then it goes into a very West Coast, the Still Dre, the Snoop days at the beginning, those, because I lived those, I was there when they were putting out the music, and I lived those Suge days. Well, that's another story.
Yeah.
So I enjoy listening to that. It brings me back. But then I have to, I work for a company now called United Masters, and they're like I was talking about my old boss under Jimmy was Steve Stout, and he has this new company called United Masters, which is like a digital record label in your pocket. You put out your own music, but at the same time,
Very
I
cool.
get to work product. So I've been signing new Latin artists. So I do have to be on the up and up of what's going on. And I do appreciate a lot of it. A lot of it, I'm like a little, but if you tell me, a lot of people go like, the old music was great before, I can't stand Bad Bunny. And I'm like, no, bro, Bad Bunny's pretty dope. Bad Bunny, he can write, he delivers, and there's a reason why he's like the Michael Jackson of now, but I get to listen to a lot of, I've been doing this for, gosh, like 25 years as A&Ring. So, but it's what I love to do. I love to try to discover new talent, and give a new talent an opportunity.
So your son is, I say, a budding artist.
Yes.
What did you do, knowing what you've been through, knowing what your past has been, when your son told you that he wanted to get in the music business?
Yeah, I wasn't, I wasn't all that excited. I had him, I had him studying marketing. I was like, maybe I said, marketing,
Not accounting?
Not
No,
accounting.
not
I was gonna
accounting.
say.
No. I didn't want to do that
I
to
don't
him. I wasn't that hard on him.
Okay.
My dad was tough on me. You're gonna be an accountant.
Sorry, I just had to say it. All right, sorry.
So you had him studying marketing.
Yeah, I had him studying marketing, and then he did the same thing. But see, it's my fault because I've told the story so many times how my dad, I was an accountant, and one day I said, Dad, I want to be an entertainer, and he got upset at the beginning, but then he said, listen, son, you got a year. If for any reason this doesn't work out for you, come back to your accounting. So it worked out for me real quick. So my son's heard that story so many times. So when he tells me, Dad, I don't want to study right now, I want to dedicate 100% to the music, I cannot,
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Don't let him listen to this interview. I quit college year 1.5, and I've never been back since, and I've done okay.
Yes, sir.
My test was like, if I can make more than whatever the base salary is of a school teacher is a year, doing this, I'm okay. That
Yes,
was
sir.
and I'm not hurting anybody, and I pay my taxes, I'm good. That I know that you have.
I'm in debt with a master's degree, so I don't want to hear it.
But you have a master's degree. I don't have.
That's doing nothing with it. Nothing.
The plaque on my wall is a graffiti artist dollar bill by Atomico from Miami, who's a friend of mine. That's the plaque on my wall.
Here's my degree. It's like on the floor.
Bueno, I have a degree in surviving and a degree in surviving despite my parents wanting me to like finish college. There's a degree in that.
Yes,
Trust me. There's a degree in that. I read this about you, and I just have to know, and Megan's gonna hate me for this, but I don't care, because if I find out anybody has a Prince story, I'm a gigantic fan of Prince. And I read your Rolling Stone article where you hung out. Talk to me. You first of all, well, I'll let you tell the story, and then I know about the story a little bit, but I want you to dive more because he's no longer here, and I'm always fascinated by him.
Well, Prince was that, I never nowhere near had the talent, so when you were asking me about, who did you, Prince was that guy that I used to work at this place called the Palace. I was a Palace dancer. Like I used to dance for 2,000 people Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And sometimes Prince would come in there and surprise people there because he wanted to try his new music coming out. And we'd have him live right in front of me. Like, and he's probably one of the reasons why I wanted to be famous, because I saw him and then I saw all the girls go, what? and getting really close.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to do that. But I used to see him at places and would say hello and stuff. He was very, very, very shy. I don't know if it was shy, if it was the way that he picked up women or whatever, but he was very like he wasn't that flashy. When he had something, he kind of closed it in. So a couple of years later, I become Rico Suave and I get a chance to open up for him at the in Minneapolis, where he's from. And so right after the show, I'm in my whatever green room, waiting around for everybody else so we can leave. And one of his guys comes in, hey, guys, Prince wants to invite you guys to Paisley Park, which is his big studio where he does music. And I was like, cool, and then he leaves. And as soon as he leaves, I was like, oh my God. And oh my God, we're going to Prince's house. And that day, it just happened to be that everybody was at that event, like Bon Jovi, every artist you can think of was there, right? So in the Jimmy calls me, he says, hey, we're going to go to Prince's. I said, yeah, he invited us. He goes, well, I'm going to pick you up. And those were the limo days. I don't know if anybody uses limos anymore, but they were like the limo days. And so I get picked up, and in that limousine is Jimmy, O.J. Simpson, Warren Beatty, and Weird Al Yankovic. That is like the crazy. Oh, and wait, and one of the Kennedys, Bobby Schreiber, right, is in that.
Okay.
Lord.
In that limo, right? And that was my moment. I always say when I'm talking about testimony, I always say that was my moment when I went like, it can't get better than this.
No way.
This is it.
You're like, am I in heaven?
Yeah.
What happened? What is this?
So
Wow.
we head on to Prince's house, and they gave us the tour, and they play the music. We're going by the studio, and then we go by where they make his clothes, and we see his jackets on these mannequins, and we're meeting people, and we're like, and like 45 minutes go by, and Warren's like, hey man, okay, cool. Where's Prince? Right? It was just us at that moment, and we're just waiting. And then and they say he'll be here in about 5 minutes. Okay, cool. We're waiting around, and then people started coming in. Like other people started coming in, and he had invited others. It wasn't just us. And then we see like they're telling, okay, he's here, and then we look, where's he at? And then that Paisley Park is like a big building. It's like a it's like a big industrial building, and in the back we saw a light, like a light goes on, and we're like, what the heck is that? And then another light goes on, and we see that it's a staircase where Prince is walking down the staircase. Every step that he makes, the light turns on. Remember, like the Michael Jackson beat a video,
like Billie Jean.
Yeah, exactly. So
like the Billie Jean video
down these steps. And we're like, we're like, we were like little kids. We're in awe. And then my mouth is down here, and it was just a moment. It was like, I don't know, like a minute, and he gets down to the floor, and I just remember Warren Beatty looking at me. He goes, "That's the most incredible entrance I've ever seen in my life." And I was still on, and then he came towards us, and he was super duper nice, so nice that you can make it. And I don't know what, but we said hello, we started talking, and of course the party started. But him and Warren, like, he loved Warren. They were talking for a long time, and man, that that was my thing. After that, I saw him at different music events and stuff like that. But that was the night that I got to be one-on-one with the dude and learned about him. And he talked about us and played us some new music that was coming out. So it was definitely like, one of my all-time, highs.
Wow.
I've been in the same room not at the same time, but I've been in the same room with O.J. Simpson, and I've been in the same room with Warren Beatty. And the $1 million question is, because Warren Beatty is the biggest head I've ever seen on a white guy, and O.J. Simpson is the biggest head I've ever seen on a black guy.
Yeah.
Who has a bigger head?
I think
OJ.
OJ.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
And listen, OJ is like solid. Like, yeah, he's got a big head, but that dude is solid, bro. Warren, more just why I never really thought about having big. I got to double check on that too. I got a lot of
Well,
pictures. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man, I'd have a field day going through those pictures. Wow. So cool.
at least now you don't have a phone that people can go through and see pictures from back then. You're like, oh no,
Oh
you didn't have
man,
like iCloud back then to
bro.
see.
I you know what's so funny that on that day, the rehearsal day, I was wearing these dolphin shorts, bro. And I was like, and I look back at that picture and those, remember the dolphin shorts, that super tight ones, that they were super high. And I'm on stage with those dolphin shorts, and there's Warren next to me. I'm like, man, I can't show pictures.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't say it didn't work.
Oh yeah.
You may be embarrassed now, but at the time it was a
Yeah,
very
those were the
effective
days. Yeah,
formula.
exactly. Yeah. Just got to tell your kids, baby, in those days it was cool. Dolphin shorts were good.
It's something I always ask people who I feel have evolved in life, and you being part of that crew. If you can think of what was the biggest lie you ever told yourself?
Gosh, that I was gonna be on top forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that nobody was gonna get me off this, this place that I was at. Yeah. It was, like I said, man, it was, in order to understand that you gotta live such a high that you learn to appreciate middle ground. You have the highs and you have the, but when you're in this middle ground, you learn to love that place. Like, I now that I'm 57 years old, I don't think that I would be thrilled to walk out of my house and people be waiting for me to take pictures. It was another time, and I can't tell you, I'm not also the type of Christian that tells you, oh, my past, it was a bad time. I don't like to talk about it. Bro, I enjoyed it to the fullest. God really showed me amazing times through it. Yeah, I was doing some crazy stuff, but at the same time, man, I can this is my chance to be able to talk to people that are going through it right now, that they're on their path to trying to to get to that level of fame again, because fame is that drug, my brother. Fame is that drug
Yeah.
that can really affect your life. And when you don't have Jesus in your life to help you out, or you don't have some type of sustaining group, supporting group to be there loving you through it, man, it can get really rough. And I've seen people just destroy their lives because they couldn't do it anymore.
But I think that's where you bring a level of credibility to it, because you've been there. You've seen it. They say there's two sides to the coin. Bullcrap. You've seen like every angle, crevice of every side of that coin. So when you speak about something to somebody, you never know what that moment's going to be that makes that difference in their life. That one day that you're tired and you're walking out of your church and somebody comes to talk to you, but you lift yourself up for that moment, and there's a series of words, there's a connection. You just never know. And I can speak to not being the most religious person. And we never really talk about that on the show, but I'm not the most religious person, but I do connect with people regardless of religion. Whether you're Hindu, whether you're Buddhist, whether you're Christian, whether you're a rabbi, that have amazing stories to tell and amazing experiences that can help somebody. And if I'm in Kentucky, I will definitely go away to come see you, come hear you speak. Where can people who are listening to the show check you out?
Well, I guess on my Instagram, you can check out,
I followed it today.
I post a lot of stuff about my coffee and the church and whatever it is that I'm doing, but that you can check out Rico Suave. But since somebody took the S, it's a 5. Rico 5 UAVE.
That's okay. That's all right.
You gotta find those people, hunt them down.
Rico 5
Yeah.
Wave, or I don't know, it's something like that.
Which is
And then on like Facebook, if you're like me and check out Facebook, you can do Gerardo Mejia Oficial, Gerardo Mejia Official.
Yeah.
But I don't really have a TikTok. Actually, I just started a TikTok, but I
Wait a
put
second. You
all my
break
coffee stuff.
dance and
Huh?
you don't have a TikTok. You are a former professional. Like if I busted out
Wow.
cardboard on the floor right now, could you throw down?
I would throw down, but I'd stay down.
Touche, my friend. Touche. And folks, please, like no joke, I got to try his coffee. It is delicious. And
Thank you.
I love that you connected to your homeland and were able to, I mean, you're all, at the end of the day, yes, it's a business, but you are enriching and helping some people down there with their, with their business. And for folks who like coffee, he's from Ecuador.
Yeah.
Follow that line around the globe, and the best coffees in the world are gonna fall along that equator line.
That's
Whether it's
right,
Africa, India, whether
yes,
it's,
sir.
that is where coffee. That is, that is the mecca of coffee. We end every single show the same way, and from the bottom of our hearts, from Megan and me, the only thing we don't get back in life is time. And I know you're a busy guy and you don't get a lot of time. So we want to thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank
spending a
you.
little bit of time with Megan and I and our fans here on the show. Guys, please head to Instagram, check out Rico5 UAVE. Rico,
5
I promise when we share this show, we'll tag him on Instagram so you guys can see it. Please go to Amazon, check out Rico Suave Coffee. It's yummy. I gave Megan my cup, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh man,
G
I
sent
gotta.
me a cup.
I'll
I
send you
gave
some more.
Megan a mug. And
Yeah,
also you sent me a backstage pass from back in the day,
that's
which
right.
I'm not gonna that was the most amazing thing ever. He sent me this laminate
Oh, wow.
of what it looked like to have a backstage pass.
Yeah.
Thankfully I didn't hold the black light to that pass, so I don't
geez.
want to know where
Oh,
that
geez.
pass went.
That's hilarious.
No, but G, for real, thank you so much. It means the world to us for you to have for you to spend some time here, and I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Guys, please like, subscribe, rate, review. It's
All that good
because of
stuff.
you guys that we get to talk to really interesting people
Yes.
like Gerardo Mejia, for real.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
God bless you guys, man. Thank you.
Cheers, brother. You too.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Oh.
Did you stop?
Yeah.
I'm stuck.